way. We need people like me, we need women writing the checks, because I really am a big believer in like attracts like. This isn't about me, it's not about me raising capital. We are investing in women, we are investing in people of color. Our portfolio right now as it stands is 68% women or person of color, and that is unheard of in the VC world.
This has been your stage, this is your moment. All the millions of fans that are watching you around the world.
That's why I started investing, was just being curious about how do I get on the cap table with some of these companies that are effectively changing how we're living our lives. That's another one of our passions, is just to invest in things like that that are helping, changing, and also fruitful.
Thanks for making me fire.
Make some noise for the great legend, Serena Williams! Serena, what's up?
Hey, I never had pyrotechnics.
Yes, that's the word. That's the word.
Yeah, that was cool.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me. Hey, everyone. Woo! This is fun.
This is kind of like a center stage.
What?
This is center stage, center court, very similar.
Yes, very similar.
So this is interesting because you're our first female headliner at Invest Fest. Clap it up for that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
We can do it too. I've been saying that for decades. We're just as good, right?
Her name
Across
is
the board.
Her name is Serena also. So I see your son, Love. Her name is Serena. I see it. Your name is Serena.
Oh, my name is Serena too.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love you back.
Love. Okay. Before we start, what are your words to like? What does this feel to see this crowd of us that's here to hear you speak? What's your words to the crowd?
It feels great. Thank you all for being here and coming out. And it feels good that I'm able to talk to people that look like me and give some. Hopefully, you guys can get some good advice too. It feels even better for that reason.
I want to start with just the mindset, right? Growing up Compton and working your way, childhood sensation and fulfilling the prophecy. What is the mental fortitude that it takes? 23-time Grand Slam champion, like it's very rare that we get an opportunity to speak to somebody that has done it at the highest level possible, right? It's just like, yeah, for sure. When I think of you, I think of Kobe, Michael Jordan. That's the highest level. So talk about the mental fortitude that it takes to maintain that level of excellence for over 25 years.
It's not easy for sure. You have to be either extremely mentally tough or a couple chips loose. I'm not sure which one it was with me. But it takes a lot, because when you are playing at a high level and you're doing something at a high level, people want to play you. They want to be you. They want to face the best and see how they measure up. Like, they have absolutely nothing to lose. And it's like any company as well. When we all out here, some of you guys are entrepreneurs, probably most of you all are entrepreneurs. When you think about it, you guys are looking at the biggest companies and you're looking at what are the best in class doing. And so to have that always as an athlete, a different level obviously, but as an athlete, have so many people look at you and say, okay, she's the best. what do I need to do to be the best and to beat the best? And I have nothing to lose while I'm doing it. So it takes a lot of mental strength, but it also, I've been reading a lot of motivational quotes lately. It's also how you look at it. If you look at things in a negative way, then you'll see things in a negative way. But if you look at things in a positive way, with a positive spin, then you'll see it positively. I can say, okay, well, gosh, everyone is so hyped to play me, or and it sucks. Or I can say, you know what, everyone is so hyped to play me, and it's great because they're making me better. And eventually I started to think and look at it like that.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because for most of your career, most people were saying, she's great, I'm not sure if I'll ever be that great, right? But talent is something that a lot of people possess. What separates the elite are the daily habits. So what are some of the habits, obviously in business, but even as an athlete, that you possess, that you see, that your counterparts, they lack it?
Just this will to always do better. Just this idea, I always want to be better. I recently told myself, I need to be smarter. And just to segue into business here, I just was like, I gotta do something every day. And so you just like that everyday mindset, right? Is what are you doing every day? And it doesn't have to be hours. It could just be something very small. So I downloaded the app where I look at a new word that I don't know every day, and I just try to somehow better myself every day. And the same as an athlete, it was different for me. It was more on a yearly basis. Every year, I would just say, okay, even if I was number one or whatever ranking I would say, all right, I'm doing great, but this is what I want to do next year to be better. So it was never about becoming complacent, and it's about little things. I wouldn't change my entire game, obviously. And just like now, I'm not trying to learn the whole dictionary, if that's even a book anymore, or a thing.
Wordle.
Yeah, exactly. I just do fun things, and I just try to make myself a little bit better, try to learn another language, or just something that I actually really enjoy, and it, just keeps my brain going.
Were you speaking Spanish backstage?
Italian.
I'm like, yo, she just changed her language on us.
It's so fun. I love languages. It's cool.
What do you feel about balance? Because Shannon Sharp, I don't know if you heard when he said that there is no balance on the road to greatness. And we've seen, like I said, going back to Kobe and Mike, but I never really heard a woman's perspective on that, right? Because a man, like most of the time what I've heard that said before is from men. You as somebody that, like I said, is on that level, but is also a woman, a mother, a wife. What is your thoughts on balance? Because I'm sure there's a lot of women in here, right?
I love that question, the way you put it. And I think you put it a different way. So you're right. You only hear. I love that Shannon said that there is no balance on the road to being great. I would like to challenge that. I think for me, I had to be balanced. And at the time, I was mostly single and I didn't have kids, so I don't know how I would manage now if I were playing full-time tennis every day. I don't think that would be possible. I think you do have to be selfish in order to be the best. And again, you look at the best companies in the world, these people are rather quite selfish. But I do think there is a little more balance. For me, when I was playing, not towards the end, but like in the beginning, I never celebrated a win. Like I would just be like, okay, I'm on to the next one. But the second half of my career, I celebrated the championships because it was fun. And it was like, you never know if you're going to win another one. So it's important to enjoy those moments and try to create a little balance because, the sport is so grueling and it's every day and it's so intense. So it's important to just kind of just let your hair down a little bit. And also, I didn't play as much as a lot of people played tennis. I didn't play every week. So for me, that was balance. I went to school when I was still playing. I went to pre-med briefly, and then I also did fashion. So that also created balance for me just to get out of my head of just balls hitting a ball in a square box, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. But so it's really important. It was really important for me to have something different, which I realize now was actually good for my mental health. At the time, I didn't realize that, and I also feel like it was my form of balance. So personally, for me, I do think you need to do 100%. Like, you know, there's this adage that you have, in order to be the best at something, you have to focus on that one thing. But I feel like you can do that with a little dipping in little other places, as long as you're like 90% there.
Can I tell you something? I've seen a lot of great athletes at the highest level. I've never seen someone win a major while pregnant. Clap it up for that, please. I got 2 kids, Serena. I was with my wife every day throughout the pregnancy. Walking was a win. I want to talk about just that level of perseverance, that grit, that determination. As you're playing, as you obviously your career is established, when did the passion switch, or did you start getting that itch for business? Obviously you dabbled in fashion, but what you're doing now is a little bit more complex. When did that switch start to change for you?
Well, my entrepreneurship started when I was in 4th grade. I used to buy a box of Edmund donuts, and there was $1, and I sold each one for 25 cents. And
a hustler in the making.
Hustler. They call it hustling, but that was an entrepreneur.
Yes.
But my dad was also entrepreneur as well. He had his own business. He had like a security business, and he never really worked for anyone. And looking back, I don't know what that meant. But when you were younger, you just thought, oh, wow, this guy really does his own thing, you know? And so I think he kind of taught myself and the kids in the house, that all the sisters, that, you know, you really want to just be your own boss, and you always want to work for yourself, you always want to create, you always want to just do things for yourself. And I've literally, my whole life, that's all I've ever seen, and that's all I've ever known. And I kind of just feel like, I'm joking, but I was really in 4th grade, I think is when I first noticed it. And then I remember we used to have these fantastic garage sales. I don't know, you know, we would sell all kinds of stuff, like crazy shoes and stuff. I'm not sure if I should have done that at the time. I was young. And we would make a killing. But it was always something. And then eventually I ended up going to fashion school, and eventually I just got into investing really early. About 15, 16 years ago, I started looking more into investing and what that meant for the future, what that meant for as technology changes, etc. So I kind of started looking more into investing.
Well, speaking about that, what inspired you to go into the venture capital world? And really, you know, it's one thing to invest, but it's one thing to actually have your own fund, and then, you know, growing into a successful fund. We'll talk about that. But what inspired you to actually get into the VC world?
Well, so I was investing for several years before I decided to get into the VC world. I was always an angel investor. I didn't know, when I first started investing, I didn't know the word angel, I didn't know early stage, but that's kind of the place that I ended up, and I always loved investing in early stage companies. I think I loved seeing them grow. I think I loved seeing things form like a seed, and then you see the seed grow into a plant, and then you see the whole journey. I think there was something about that that really resonated with me. So I was at a conference once, and this lady was on stage, and she was talking about how less than 2% of all VC money went to women, and then fractions went to people that looked like people of color. And I was just like, gosh, if I want to start a business, then I have to go get a loan from the bank, because I'm not going to be able to get VC money. And you know, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I said, for me, I think the best way to change that is not necessarily giving out more money. I think it's changing who's writing the checks. We need more women writing checks. We need more people like us writing checks. Because if the same person is writing a check, it's obviously going to go to the same friends and the same people that look like them. So in a way, it makes sense. Like, okay, now I see why they're doing it. I would do it too. Hence why we need people like me writing checks. So we can put money in, we can invest in ourselves, and we can invest in other companies that are going to be great and support as well. So that was the original, that was how I got into VC. I never wanted to do a startup, and I ended up starting this, and it was a startup, and startups are, as you all know, it takes a tremendous amount of time, and that's it was very natural, and I decided that this is what I wanted to do. I don't feel like I'm going to change that number. I never tried to change the number. My main thing is just letting people know, hire women, hire people of color, hire us, think differently, be diverse. And I think that's so important when you have that diversity, not only when you're looking at companies, but also on the cap table, and also when it comes to just people writing the checks.
This is interesting. I want to get this number right. 13 unicorns you invested in?
16.
16. I knew I was going to get it right. 16 unicorns.
Explain what a unicorn
So,
is.
for those who are not familiar with the word unicorn in terms of venture capital, that means that company's valuation reached $1 billion.
Yes.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
I thought my little 1,000% was nice. You got 16 billion dollar companies that you've invested in, which is an amazing feat. Kind of a two-part question. What was it like when you saw the first company reach that $1 billion mark? What was that feeling like?
Well, I remember I was on the court and I was thinking, why am I still on the court? That literally was my first thought. Yes, that was literally you asked, that was my first thought. But it was really exciting, because it was kind of cool to see them continue to grow. The first company that I invested in reached $1 billion. They were already pretty far along. They were not super far along, but they were $100 million company. But then I had a couple more companies that started as a seed. And watching that seed grow into a plant, it was really, really exciting, because being able to be there and help and say, we should try this or we should try that, and what if you did this, and seeing those companies grow to be billion-dollar companies was really, really awesome.
So the second part is, you've done it, so there's obviously a track record of success. What are you looking at when you're evaluating a company to say, this is one that I can see the potential growth, and that one I'm not sure we're going to participate in?
Well, the first thing I look at is just rely on my team. And hear their thoughts. I also look at one of the very, very first things is there a need for it? Is there a need for this company in the marketplace? If that answer is yes, then we go on to step 2. Okay, yeah, we can see this happening. Who needs it? How many people need it? So we dive a lot to the numbers. We don't really do with the emotions of, oh, I love it, I love the founder, it's great. We're more or less like, just what are the numbers like? How many customers will we need? What is the possibility of them getting to have all these customers, and et cetera. So that's kind of how we look at it initially. And then, and we can just continue to dive and do lots of work from there.
Is there a story of a company that you may have missed out on that later on it was like, wow, I wish I would have actually invested in that one?
Well, I like to think that I didn't miss out on it. And the thing is, it helped me. I always say that losing is a way to learn how to win the next time. And it's not necessarily a failure, it's bettering yourself. We all need to have those losses to better ourselves. So I had an opportunity to invest in this really cool company, and I loved it. I said, this is the future. Oh my God, this is amazing. I get it. I totally get what they're trying to do. I want to do it. But I was in the middle of playing a tournament at the time. It was right up at Grand Slam season. And I was in Rome playing there, and then I went straight to French Open, and then I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna call back, I'm gonna figure this out, like I really wanna do this deal. And I think I may have won the French Open that year, so I never had a chance, and I got really sick. And then it was Wimbledon right after. It was just a lot of things happening. Eventually, the deal left, I forgot about it, things happened, and then it came back, and it was just too far. Looking back, it wasn't too far, but it was still too far gone. And I was like, okay, the lesson there is that I need a team. And that's when I got a team. I was still doing, this is when I was only doing personal investments, but that's when I got a team. I was like, I'm not in delegation is so important because I used to think I could do everything myself, and I still do, but I've learned that more and more as the day goes by, I learned that I really need people that can help me vet, take care, take the phone calls, take the time to do things that I simply don't have time to do. And that company was Uber. But I love that I recognize the company.
Uber?
Uber.
Oh, wow.
But I love that I recognized greatness and I really understood what they were trying to do. So it would have been 17. But I took solace in the fact that A, I recognized it, A, I really wanted to do it, or B, I really wanted to do it. But I needed a team. I was doing it all by myself. But then I was able to get a lot more because I did develop that team and I did get someone else that was able to help me take care of all the nuances behind the scenes.
I just want to follow up on that because that's important for people to understand. Capacity overload is something that we all deal with. It's happened to me before where it's like you pride yourself in when you forget something or when you realize that you didn't call a person back. There's always that one aha moment where it's like, I don't have the capacity to do this anymore without somebody helping me. And that's extremely important for people to understand. You're only going to go as far as the people that you hire, you work with, you have in your circle. So whether it's an assistant, whether that's a partner, if you don't have enough money, you got to partner with somebody, give them equity. But really talk about the value from sports world to business world of having strong, qualified people that you can rely on that can help you go further as opposed to doing everything yourself.
It's so important, and a lot of things I talk about now really involves around team. Team can make or break you, but you need someone. That's why I said delegate. Like, it's great if you're starting something, you want to put everything on your shoulders. It's okay to delegate because that load gets heavy. It gets heavy to a point where you might forget things, or you might not be able to do as much. You might not be as good as you actually can be without someone helping you along. And I learned that, and I felt like it was a hard lesson to learn, but I was okay, I also tried not to live too much in the past, and just try to keep moving forward.
You play in a sport, obviously if you're not playing doubles, most of the times you're by yourself, so it can feel very isolating. When you're doing it in a solo career, it's great because everything falls on you and all the success is happening because of you. I wonder, in the world of business, did you have to learn leadership? And what was that process like of delegating to people now when you know that the results are not solely dependent on your business acumen? It's kind of that team that you talked about building.
Yeah, I had to learn leadership, but I was fortunate enough to learn leadership in tennis. Tennis started out as a completely solo sport, and it still is. However, when I first started playing professional tennis, it was just myself and my dad and my sister, and everyone else had themselves and maybe a coach, and that's it. And that's how tennis was. But as time went on, as years passed, we really started to develop teams. Tennis players got much more professional, or more into just the whole big picture, and teams grew from 3 people to 6, 7, 8 people, which is a small team, but at the same time, you're leading that entire team. And so for a number of years, I had to create a team, and I was actually one of the first people to start this professionalism of just getting a lot of people on my team to bring out the best in myself in order to try to reach records and break records. And so doing that was a full-time job in itself until I found it, and finding another leader to delegate more, and finding just everyone that could fit in the right pieces. And having team meetings, having team calls, doing everything together and delegating and being the leader of the team really taught me a lot about how to lead when I went to VC. Of course, at the time, I didn't know that it was teaching me that, but I definitely was able to get a tremendous amount of experience of building and growing and dealing with different personalities and dealing with people that don't like each other and all that stuff. And I'm still figuring out a way how to make it work for the greater good.
Speaking about team, working, family, I know we all saw the movie King Richard. Talk about your dad. Like, when did you actually buy into the vision that he had for you? Or did you always believe in the vision that he had for you? And I know he was your first coach. You know, we all know the story. So, kind of, what is your thoughts on, looking back on it now, like how that molded you to who you are today?
I don't know. When someone tells you every day that you're going to be great, at some point you start to believe it. And
Clap it up for that. That's important.
yeah. And I always say that my dad is way ahead of his time. He's doing things that people now are just starting to do. And he told myself, he told my sister every day, we were going to be number one. We were going to win Grand Slams. We were going to be the best. And then he told us to tell ourselves that we were the best. And we had to look in the mirror and tell ourselves that we were the best. And so I think there really is something to positive reformation to yourself and telling yourself every day that you're great, you're going to be the best. Positive affirmation. You know what? I'm so many places right now, but I want to be here. So I feel like there's something to that. And so I don't know, and I still think, even with all that positivity, I still think there was a little part of me, because I was really small when I was young, and I didn't grow up until much later in life. And I wasn't that big, and I wasn't that strong, and I wasn't that good, and I just hit lobs all the time, and so I couldn't really, I was a fighter. That's all I had, which I also think was good that I was small, because I learned how to fight, you know. But I was like, are you sure this includes me? Because I can see why you might want to bet on her, but are you sure you want to bet on me? Of course, I never said that, but that's kind of, in the back of my head, I'm like, you know, I'm not going to be that good. But you know what? When I went out there and I started playing, I don't know, I think those words kept coming back as you're going to be number one, and I believed it. And the only way to be that is to go out there and be fearless and play fearless and do everything, you know, as hard as you can for as long as you can.
You definitely were number one. As you're saying it, I'm thinking to myself, because I have two kids, and I'm telling them both they're going to be number one. Only one of them is going to be number one.
Not necessarily.
Wow.
They could both be. Venus was number one too.
This is true. I'm going there. I'm going there.
But put them in different sports. It's just too much stress.
So, I want to talk. We obviously are a great example of brotherhood, but the bond between you and your sister is evident, right? Obviously, when you're competing against each other, you want to win, but you don't want the other to lose. That's in the professional setting. But you've also invested together, right? I remember when you had the investment in the Miami Dolphins. Talk about growing together as athletes, but also as businesswomen, because I think that gets overlooked.
Yeah, that was really exciting. I love football. I always say I love American football, but it's so fun. So then this opportunity to invest in the Dolphins came up. I mean, I think that's like 18
Hold on, there's
years
two
old
Miami
now.
Dolphins fans right there.
Hey, there's three.
There's three, yes.
Three.
Yes. There they go. We're in LA now.
Yeah, we got to count us. 'Cause it's not many of us. But it was really cool because by then I've been living in Florida, South Florida, for so many years, and it was my new home. And it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer, and man, was that a good investment, because you look at the valuation of any football team, and we invested ages ago, like well over I think we were looking at it the other day, I think it was like 17 years ago. It was before I started other investments, so it was a very long time ago. And it was just cool to say that we own a football team, or where we have ownership in a football team. And it was great, and then we got to know the owners, and that opened so many other doors for you. You get to know even more people. Really, VC and entrepreneurship is really all about connections. So you can't forget that. It's really about who you know, what you know, and who they can introduce you to, and vice versa. Who you can introduce other people to open the door for them as well. So, and so just that investment was great, but on another aspect, it was also great to get to know other people and get our foot into other doors, other really big doors.
Troy's wearing your sneakers right now.
What?
Troy, you got your sneakers
Oh,
on.
yes.
Oh, let me put these up. Todd, close up. Todd, close up. So I am a sneakerhead.
Those are dope. I
And
told you I put mine in storage.
you might know these sneakers.
Yes. I can't believe
So-
you're wearing them.
Oh, I did it for you. So, I mean, obviously this is a collaboration with the great Virgil.
Yes. Yes.
Obviously fashion was the role that you played in. Talk about choosing partnerships in the world of business, because your brand itself is a strong one, and who you align with is important. Talk about how you're going about picking and choosing who you're going to align with.
Well, I got lucky with Virgil. Like, I've always was a fan of his, and when we got a chance to work together, I just jumped. I was actually supposed to work with Versace, and something happened, and it didn't work out. And then it was Virgil, and I was like, this is awesome. It's so much more. I mean, I love Versace, but it was like, this is so much more awesome. Because it was Virgil, and so it was just such an amazing opportunity to work with him. And so anyway, that ended up just being really fortunate, being at the right place at the right time. But when I work in a line with someone, there has to be some authenticity for it for me. Like, my whole life I wanted to be with Nike. I mean, at the time, Jordan was with Nike, so every athlete wanted to be with Nike at the time. And so it was just like iconic, and I was one of those as well. And so for me, that was like end goal kind of thing. So for me, if I'm aligning with someone, even like a row, like it really has to be very authentic. Like, do I use it? Is it something that I do? Is it something that I believe in? Is it something that because if it isn't, I think nowadays more than ever, the consumer can kind of read through people that aren't honest, and they're just like, oh, they're just doing this for a paycheck, And so I try not to do that. I try to do things that I really, truly use and passionate about, and